So good morning everyone, my name is Lalit Soni. I welcome you all in this live news analysis session by Drishti IAS. Today we will be discussing about Indian Express newspaper and we will take up few articles since it was weekend. So we will be covering few news from Saturday and Sunday. Okay, not into details, but I will make sure you don't miss on anything. Okay, so let's start with we'll look at the news from the weekend and then we'll go towards the today's front page or today's newspaper. Then we will discuss these three important articles: UN resolution on Gaza, India out campaign in Maldives, and then UN's role in national peace process. Okay, so these three articles will be highlight of the day, and after that we will be seeing some miscellaneous articles from world affairs, etc., and then we'll try to look up at a editorial. Okay, mostly we'll be covering editorials in the editorial analysis session at the PCS channel. Link is in your description, but I will try to take editorials which are important and I'll discuss it in brief here. Okay, so let's start. So Canada, Germany, Japan, UK among 45 countries to abstain from UN resolution on Gaza. So basically this resolution has been proposed by Jordan, and in this resolution they has talked about the humanitarian action and some kind of civilian help to the people who are suffering in the Gaza Strip area. So few countries has reservation regarding that because they have not mentioned anything related to Hamas attack on 7th October in the Israel. Okay, so because of that, most of the countries like you can say Canada, Germany, Japan, etc., they have abstained from the voting because they have said that since you did not mention anything regarding this particular attack or terrorism as as a matter of fact. So that is why they have kind of abstained. But anyway, this resolution was passed. Okay, and this particular resolution talks about the sustained humanitarian truce between Israel and Gaza Strip. So they are taking some steps to make sure they can ensure peace in the war zone area, which you can say right now it is in crisis. Okay, so we'll discuss this article in details. Jordan drafted resolution made no mention of Hamas attack. So this was drafted by Jordan and they did not mention anything regarding Hamas attack on October 7th. Okay, so here it is said that terrorism has no borders. Okay, terrorism everywhere is a threat to everyone. So that is why they should have mentioned this thing in this particular resolution, but they did not. Okay, knows no border, nationality, race. The world should not buy into any justification of terror acts. If they are doing it for their identity, or you can say their right for self-determination or calling for a sovereign state, but even in that case they should not resort to terrorism. Okay, so terrorism in any form cannot be justified. So that is what the concern was. So this resolution was drafted by them. Okay, and they called for an immediate, durable and sustainable humanitarian truce. Okay, so they said that we want a peace in this particular area and a humanitarian truce, so that there is no more loss to the civilians. Okay, other than that you can say India joined Australia, Canada, Germany, Japan, Ukraine and United Kingdom in group of 45 countries that basically abstained from the voting. Okay, so in UN what happens is when there is a resolution there is a voting. Okay, there are three things: you can vote in favor, you can vote against, or you can abstain from voting. You cannot vote at all. Okay, so in that case India also chose not to vote because they did not mention anything related to terrorism. This resolution was titled as Protection of Civilians and Upholding Legal and Humanitarian Obligations. Okay, it is not very much important. All you have to know that there is a resolution which was proposed by Jordan, and it is about the war zone area of Israel and Gaza Strip. Okay, and they are talking about this humanitarian truce. Okay, they did not mention anything related to the terrorism. Now there are some key takeaways from the article. It was a explained section. Okay, India abstained from UNGA UNGA General Assembly vote on resolution calling for immediate humanitarian truce in the Israel-Hamas conflict, which passes with 120 votes. Some are saying 121, but it's okay. 120, 121 votes in favor and 14 against, and nearly 45 abstain from the voting. In that 45 members, India is also one of them. Okay. An amendment was proposed by Canada. Canada proposed an amendment to this resolution saying that they should mention this thing regarding the terrorist and the crisis, which named Hamas and sought to address their role in the crisis. Okay, so they have mentioned that you should mention role of Hamas in that also. That particular amendment was rejected due to the lack of support. Okay, from 2/3 of the member present and voting. If you want to pass a resolution, you need to have a support of 2/3 member who are present and voting. Okay. Next, India voted in favor of this amendment. India also wanted that the role which was played by Hamas should be recognized here, and they should be criticized in that regard. But India also voted in this amendment, but unfortunately this amendment could not been passed by the majority which was required. Okay. Other than that, when we are talking about UN Assembly's resolutions, you can say these resolutions are not legally binding. Okay, these are not legally binding. Once these resolutions are passed, it is not an obligation for the member countries to follow it. It is just having a moral authority. Okay, it is just an indication that we are supporting the cause or we are against the cause. Okay, but there is no legal sanctity, or you can say it is not legally binding. Okay, moving ahead. Here we can say the vote signifies the support for international law. Okay, and rejection of the current situation on the ground. Okay, so as I told you that there is no legal obligation, but ultimately when you are voting or you are passing a resolution, you are bringing a resolution, it ultimately enforces the international law. Okay, India's approach to Israel-Hamas conflict aligns with the balanced stance in other global conflict such as Russia-Ukraine. In Russia-Ukraine also we did not take any sides. We were quite diplomatic in this regard, and we have handled it quite well. Okay, in this case also we are handling it well, because when we are talking about Hamas or Palestinians, we have support for their cause of sovereign state. Okay, we are not deflecting from that, but the thing is, when there is some kind of terror attack, we are not in favor of that. So in that regard, we are with Israel also. Okay, so that is why we have taken a very diplomatic approach, saying that we will not be part of any thing which recognize any kind of terror activity. Okay, even if it is in the name of the sovereign state. Okay, on the other hand, when some country is being hit by terrorism, we will support that country. So that is why we are supporting Israel also, but we are also supporting the Palestinian cause. So we have taken a balanced approach here. India condemned the violence and terror attacks, supported Israel, expressed concern for the people of the Gaza, okay, which we have discussed, and called for diplomacy and dialogue to achieve two-state solution for Israel and Palestine. So here we are saying that we are supporting this two-state solution, which was basically proposed by UN in 1947 or 48. UN has said this partition theory they have given. Okay, so basically we are supporting this two-state theory. Okay, also which is you can say in the lines of the Oslo Accord. Okay. This highlights India's diplomatic approach to the Israel-Hamas conflict and its effort to balance between conflicting parties. Okay, so that is about the UN resolution which has been passed. India abstained from voting, and we are taking this particular stance we have discussed. So moving ahead, there is this article which is related to Maldives. So you must know that few months back there was an election, and in this election, in second phase of the election, President Mohammed Moizu, he has been elected as the president. Okay, so the elect president is now saying that we are talking on the lines with India, so that we can remove the Indian troops which are present in their territory. Okay, so even in their election campaign, they have this India out campaign. Okay, I might have mentioned it, or you can read India out campaign. So basically what they are doing here is that they are trying to remove the troops which are present in Maldives. When we are talking about Maldives and India, there are quite friendly relations. Okay, the last president which were there in the Maldives, which were they were quite close in their government was having very good relations with India. They were quite close. Okay, so we had some kind of investment there. We have some kind of, you can say, cooperations related to technology sector there. India sponsored a radar station in Maldives. Then there is a surveillance aircraft. India warships help them patrol in the Maldives or Indian Ocean area. So in that case, when we are talking about anti-piracy activities, we are supporting Maldives. Okay. So India and Maldives have a quite friendly equation. Okay, but now the problem is Mr. Moizu, or the, you can say, the elect president, they in the past had some inclination towards China. Okay, he was supported by the former president, Mr. Abdullah. He was quite a good friend of China. Okay, so even we have seen that in the government of Abdullah, he was a minister and he has sanctioned some projects which were in line with the Belt and Road Initiative of China. Okay, so we have seen that he has some kind of inclination toward China in the past. What future holds, we don't know, but now they are saying that India must, get out of this area. The troops, Indian troops, should get out of this area. So a concern is what will happen to their equation with China. Will China occupy these areas or not, or the Chinese troops will come to these areas or not? So he has clearly said that we are not intended to ask any other country to come and camp here. So they are not inviting China also. They are taking a stance away from both the countries. But right now what happens, that future will decide. But the thing is, they are supporting this India out campaign. They will remove the Indian troops. There are talks going on. Okay, so let's see. Maldives has started negotiation with India to remove its military presence. We have talked about it. New Delhi and Beijing both vie for the influence in the region. As I told you, that in the neighborhood, China is also trying to get influence. India is also trying to keep its influence, because in Indian Ocean area, or you can say the whole area, as per the USA terminology, Indo-Pacific area, USA is trying to make a sway. On the other hand, USA want us to have a greater influence in this area, because it is in interest of USA as well as India. Okay, so now both the countries are trying to make an sphere of influence in this particular region. Removing Indian troops was a key campaign pledged by Moizu. As I told you, that this India out campaign was a part of his election campaign. Okay, so I told you about this radar station, etc. There were other you can say investment, the kind of economy which Maldives has. It is a tourism based economy. Most of the revenue comes from Indians there. We want a bilateral relationship with that is basically mutually benefits both the countries. This is the statement by the elect president. He is saying that we want bilateral relations which benefits both the countries, and it is not in a favor of one country. Indian soldiers would not be replaced by troops from any other country. Asking India to remove military personnel in no way indicates that I am going to allow China or any other country to come here. Okay, so ultimately he, in his statement, he made sure that he is not inviting any other countries. But let's see what happens. So we know that he has this support for Chinese policies, etc. You can say support for pro-China. Former President Abdullah Yamin, as I told you, that he is a proxy candidate for Abdullah Yamin also, only, because he could not actually contest the election because of the corruption charges. Okay, so he has actually asked this person to come in power. So you can say he is proxy for Abdullah Yamin, and Abdullah Yamin has quite close relations with China. Okay, so now this tug of war, influence over Indian Ocean region, both Asian powerhouses, India as well as China, have invested heavily in upgrading Maldives infrastructure and extended loans as they compete. We are competing for our more sway in this area, so we have invested here. We have given line of credits, loan, etc. to Maldives. Okay, so that is about your India out campaign and the Maldives. Moving forward, US fighter jet strikes Iran linked site in Syria in retaliatory action. Okay, so this is not important for us because these incidents keep happening. Only thing important here is to remember two locations which were given, that is Al-Assad, that is in Iraq, and then Al-Taf garrison, that is in Syria. So these two particular locations were basically here these Iraq or Syria's you can say attack was done by some kind of drone activities. Okay, so these drone attacks on these two areas, which are basically US's bases, is sponsored by Iran. Okay, so because of which we have this USA has gone for retaliatory action, and they have did this particular fighter jet strike. Okay, in the statement, Defense Secretary said that precision self-defense strikes are a response to the series of ongoing, mostly unsuccessful attacks against US personnel in Iraq and Syria by Iranian-backed militia group that began on October 7th. So basically, they are saying that since October 17, there has been some kind of attacks on US bases or US personnel on this particular area. So now they are saying that we have taken a self-defense related strike, okay, in retaliation to the Iran's action in this particular area. Okay, so that is about this article. Only these two things you have to remember, that sometimes they can ask you in the map or match the following, that Al-Assad base and there is this Al-Taf garrison. Okay, it is one is in Syria and one is in Iraq. So moving forward, then there is this Delhi explores legal and diplomatic options after Qatar death sentence. As I told you that we have discussed this article in the previous lecture, so I will not go into details of it. Now the thing is, since there is not much time, that the family members of the personnel who are there, who has given the death sentence by the Qatar government, in the issue related to, they are saying that they were involved in some kind of spying activity for Israel. Okay, so now that is you can say kind of assumption, because Indian Navy personnel, why would they work for Israel? Okay, that is the question raised by us. But the thing is, India is basically exploring all the legal options. As I told you that we are working on the lines of Italian marine case, which has happened in India also. Okay, so that is the article. Delhi will work layers relying on the political, economic and defense ties and the goodwill with the Indian community enjoys. So basically what we are doing is that we will be using our soft power to get out of this particular situation. Okay, we will be using this economic tie, political ties, etc. You can say that is basically your soft power. Okay, so we will use that. We have a good say, we have actually good relations with Qatar, friendly relations with Qatar. So there are chances that this particular strategy might work. Okay, the problem is the charge of espionage, especially which involved Israel, will have implications, because now this Arab world is on the, you can say, in the war zone area. So this particular thing that these personnel were involved in spying activity related to Israel, so that kind of irks the Arab world. So there are chances that this this instance or this approach might backfire, but we will see what happens. But that is, for now we can say this is a good approach to go, because since time is less, we cannot go for offensive, we have to play defensive. Okay, so that is your article. So now we will come to our today's news. So here you can say there is this blast at Jehovah's Witness event. This is Jehovah is basically a community which has some kind of link to, you can say, Christians. Okay, so we'll talk about who are Jehovah's. But there was this IED blast. Okay, so 2 persons killed here. It is not important. What I wanted to tell you is that there was this blast was in this Ernakulam district of Kerala. Okay, so we will be talking about this Jehovah community. Okay, so here Jehovah's Witness, it is a community, you can say this is a subsection of Christians. They do not believe in the Holy Trinity. Okay, so in Christian you can say theology, there are 3 things: the Father, the Son and the Holy Spirit. So when we are talking about the Father, he is talking about the God, and then when we are talking about the Son, that is Jesus Christ, and then the Holy Spirit. So these 3 form the Holy Trinity. Basically these are the 3 elements of God, they according to their belief in the Christianity. But these Jehovah's Witnesses, or you can say these people, they are saying that this is not the case. There is only one God, that is creator, and they do not believe in this particular Trinity. Okay, so that is why this particular incident happened, because the accused person who has taken the responsibility of bombing is saying that this community is spreading some kind of anti-national feelings. Okay, they are asking people not to join defense services, not to sing national anthem, etc. So that is why in that anger he has done this job. Okay, no doubt this is not to be done. This is not a thing how you should resolve any kind of anti-national feeling, if at all it present. But the thing is, that is the reason he has cited. Okay, so that is one thing. So I told you about who are Jehovah's Witness. They have their presence in India as well. In 1906, 1905, they have started to come here and settle here. Okay. Other than that, you must have heard this case, Bijoy Emmanuel and others versus State of Kerala. Okay, this case was where the three students they kind of refused to sing national anthem. Okay, or stand while the national anthem was going on. Okay. So this case went to the High Court and then it went to the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court says that it is their choice to stand or not, because you cannot force them, and it is somehow against their religious freedom. Okay, because since they do not believe in any other god than the one creator, even they are against mostly the society norms, they are against this particular section, this holy trinity, they are against you can say joining defense services, etc. So Supreme Court in their judgment gave this observation that all these things are there in their practices. So if someone is not singing national anthem, that is not it is a freedom of speech or expression, or you can say it is a freedom of religion for them. Okay, so that was the case. You can remember Bijoy Emmanuel and others versus State of Kerala. These three students were from this particular community, that is Jehovah's Witnesses. Okay, so this is about this particular article. Moving forward, Modi dials Egypt LCC over Gaza, both agree on early peace. So basically in this article there is nothing much. Now the thing is, India is playing an engaging role in this conflict. India is talking with the stakeholders in the neighborhood, and they are making sure that this there is an early peace which can prevail in this particular area. India, after you can say attacks, India has talked to the PM Netanyahu, and then he has talked to Egypt's president, and he has talked to the leaders of Jordan also. Okay, so in all these instances, we have seen that India is playing a important role or engaging role in this particular thing. As India assesses the Israel-Hamas war and reach out to the major stakeholders in West Asia, Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, and they are talking about these peace processes in this particular region. Okay, he has also talked to the Jordan's king, Israeli president, Mr. Netanyahu. Other than that, he has also talked to the Palestinian Authority's president. So there is in this areas which are being controlled by Palestinians in the Gaza West Bank. So in that West Bank, there is this Palestinian Authority which handles the administration in that area. So we have talked to them as well. Okay. So now we are playing an important role here as well. India has cleared the clear instance when we are talking about terrorism. I have explained it many times, so I will not get into details of it. An estimated 90 lakh Indians work in the West Asia. Okay, so that much capital, you can say social capital, we have invested in the West Asia, and any widening of ongoing conflict poses a risk to them. India's energy security banks on stability of the region. Okay. Which meets over 50% of India's energy needs. So basically, for peace in this region is quite important for India. Okay, now we are saying that there are 90 lakh persons which are working in that particular area, and if war prevails, their employment might get hurt. Or other than that, there is a, you can say, a threat to their security as well. Okay. If we are talking about energy terms, we are dependent on this area for like more than 50% of our needs. Okay, so for that it is quite important that the stability prevails in this region, and now India is playing a engaging role in this particular thing. Okay, you can read these last two paragraphs. These are quite good, or I can read it out. Its position is in tune with the stance in other ongoing conflict, the Russia-Ukraine war. While the circumstances, politics and the conditions of the two wars are different and not comparable, the diplomatic playbook of balancing has been a consistent feature of India's approach. We have discussed in our first article. We have said that India is taking a balanced approach. Okay, so they are also saying that the diplomatic playbook of balancing. Okay, the use of the words quite interesting. Diplomatic playbook of balancing has been consistent feature of India's you can say approach, or you can say diplomacy. Okay, so moving forward, Delhi's dilemma, choosing Hasina's daughter or her Nepal challenge. Okay, so now challenger, basically what happens, what is happening is that the regional office of the World Health Organization, okay, that is Southeast Asia Regional Office for WHO. So for the leadership role of this particular office, these are two persons who are contesting. One is Saima Wazid. She is daughter of the you can say Miss Hasina. Okay, Sheikh Hasina. She is the Prime Minister of Bangladesh. So she is daughter of Sheikh Hasina, and this Shambhu Prasad Acharya is a personal from Nepal, and he has dedicated around 30 years of service in the WHO. Okay. Other than that, when we are talking about Saima Wazid, she is also a expert psychologist. Okay. Now they are running for this particular post, and now we have to vote. There are you can say some 11 countries in this particular area. Or you can say 11 members. Okay, these members are Bangladesh, Bhutan, North Korea, India, Indonesia, Maldives, Myanmar, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Thailand, and Timor-Leste. These are the 11 members, and out of these 11 members have to vote for their role. Okay, so now India has this question that which person should they vote for. Okay, we will see what happens in the future. Okay, so this is particularly about your Southeast Asia region office for WHO, and these two candidates are contesting, Saima Wazid and Shambhu Prasad Acharya. One is from Bangladesh, one is from Nepal, one is Sheikh Hasina's daughter, and this particular person is self-made person. You can say he is practicing for like 30 years in the WHO. UN to play a role in Nepal peace process. Okay, so this article is important because Nepal has been a good neighbor for India. Recently in past there was some Chinese influence, but now they are somehow coming back to India. Now when we are talking about Nepal, this has been in some kind of doldrums since 1990s, you can say, because there was monarchy and there was this civil war related to this particular thing, that they want to remove the monarchy and want a communist setup there. Okay, so but you can say because of that there was some kind of incidents, and then ultimately in 2006 UN came and they kind of started brokering this peace deal, okay, peace process. But after some time around 2011, because of some kind of domestic politics, and the UN was accused of doing some interference, because of which they UN left from the area. They said that we will not get into it again. But now the Mr. you can say Prachanda, Kamal Dahal Prachanda, Prime Minister of Nepal, he is inviting this UN to come and play a role in this peace process. Okay, because he has been the peace process is basically is to take care of the things which happened in that particular time, and it is about some kind of amnesty. Okay, some kind of amnesty which he is asking. Pushpa Dahal Prachanda, he is asking for some kind of amnesty, and now they will be asked to think about it, because the House's committee has said that they will not give any kind of blanket immunity, okay, blanket amnesty. Okay, so that is why they have asked about it. So we will talk about the background first, and then we will go into the details of the news. The Nepal peace processes refers to a series of political negotiations and agreements that took place in Nepal following a decade-long civil war. As I told you, there was a civil war related to the transfer of power. The conflict, which started in 1996 to 2006, involved the Communist Party of Nepal, that is Communist Party of Nepal, Maoist, and the government enforced. That was there at that particular time. You can say there was monarchy, and they wanted to replace it. Okay, so background was in 1996, this Communist Party of Nepal, Maoist, they started this insurgency to overthrow the monarchy, okay, and established a communist republic. The conflict resulted in significant loss of life and economic issues, and then there was this royal massacre in 2001, in which a whole royal family was killed by these communist persons. Okay, Then there was this comprehensive peace accord which was started in 2006, which was brokered by UN. Okay, and there were some other international actors which were involved in this particular process. The peace process paved way for the abolition of the monarchy in 2008 and establishment of the Democratic Republic in Nepal. So there are some scholars, or you can say some Nepali scholars, says that in this particular thing also India has some kind of internal, you can say, interference. Okay, they have interfered in the politics of Nepal and resulted into democracy while they were wanting a communist setup. Okay, so I don't know what is true, but now the thing is, as I told you, that they have invited the world body to play a role in concluding Nepal's peace process and transitioning justice processes, which is going on. There is a political reform which is going on in Nepal, and they have asked to come and play a role in it. Okay, UN support, but laid clear conditions that the process must be accordance with the international standards, verdict of the Nepal's Supreme Court, and fulfill basic needs of the victims. So basically, they have given some preconditions that if 3 preconditions are followed, then only we will come and go for this particular peace process. Okay, these conditions are after Prachanda had lobbied at home and internationally for securing general amnesty for himself and the Maoist combatant for the human rights violations. So as I told you that there was this massacre, etc. Other than that, there were also some other human rights violations, because of which now they are asking for the general amnesty internationally as well as domestically. Okay, so the House Committee, you can say, in Nepal, they have said that they will not provide for the blanket immunity. Okay, so now they are asking UN to come and play a role. As I told you that after peace accord, which was started in 2006, and then till 2011 it was working on, and after 2011, because of some kind of controversy or confrontation with the regular UN system, alleged bias and overstepping the mandate, all these things happened, because of which they said that they do not want their help anymore. Okay, so now they are again asking them to play a role which might not work, or which might not likely to go down well in the country, because the domestic politics of Nepal works in a different way. They might not want it to happen, some international role played by the UN in their domestic politics. Then editorial, we'll be talking about this particular editorial. As of now, when we have discussed this UN resolution, we have almost discussed every aspect of it, but still I will take up these things. You can just give it a read. India's recent UN Assembly vote and support for the Canadian amendment on Israel-Palestine conflict signals a shift in the Middle East policy. So now, what is the shift in the Middle East policy? Earlier, we have a stand which was, when we are talking about Palestinians, we were always in the favor of Palestinians. Whatever kind of resolutions were in UN related to this Israel-Palestine issue, we have always supported Palestinians. Okay. So now that we have abstained from voting, so that gives an idea that there is a shift in the Middle East policy. Okay, that is one thing. This shift is not about abandoning the Palestinian cause. We are not abandoning them. We are not saying that we are not with you when you are asking for a sovereign state. Okay, or you are asking for the self-determination right of yourself. Okay, because earlier you know that this area belongs to Palestine, and then Israel occupied this area, and there was this two-nation theory. There was UN partition plan. So on that regard, even UN recognized that there should be two countries, Israel and Palestinians. Okay, so we support that cause. But now the thing is, because of this terrorist activities, we have taken this realistic, you can say, approach. Okay, but the reflects more realistic assessment of the regional dynamics and India's enduring interest, particularly related to the terrorism. Okay. Other than that, there is also this realistic, you can say, assessment of regional dynamics, that Israel is a rising power and we are having a strategic interest with Israel. Okay, we are having a good relationship with Israel now. Okay, so that is why, because earlier when we were talking about Palestinian cause in the era of NAM, etc., non-aligned movement, we were having a maintained distance with USA. Okay, and Israel was a closer ally of USA, so we had a distance with Israel also. But then since now we are a close partner with USA, there is this obvious thing that we will be close to Israel as well. Okay, Israel is good in technology, etc. Israel has a good spy network. Okay, defense technology they have good. So because of all these things, we have strategic ties with Israel also. Okay, so now there is a change in the interest, so because of which we have taken a realistic assessment and then voted abstain from the voting. And obviously this issue of terrorism, which we have always said that we will not tolerate terrorism in any form. India's previous voting patterns are often in the line with Arab resolution against Israel, and it avoided addressing terrorism in the Arab world. So we have talked about all these things, that even this earlier we did not talk about terrorism in the Arab world, because I told you that in some of our discussion I told you that there was this your terrorism and my terrorism concept earlier. Okay, there was no you can say our terrorism, because earlier interests were different. So USA was in this area. When we are talking about this Arab area, USA was saying that this Arab area there are terrorists. Okay, when we are talking about this after 26/11 etc. When we are talking about my terrorism, we were saying that the Pakistan has this terroristic tendencies, or they are sponsoring the terrorism. Okay, but at that time USA has ties with Pakistan, so they did not say that. But after 26/11, you can say, or you can say 9/11 also, when it happened in 2000s, so they have come to realize that terrorism have no border. Okay, then come the idea of this our terrorism, not yours, not mine, our terrorism. So then started a global war against terrorism. When we are talking about nowadays, now this war has been fragmented. Okay, we are again USA is busy in countering China. UK has its own problems. Okay, USA does not have the kind of resources to wage a war in this Middle East area, and up more than that, now this Israel issue. So the efforts related to when you are talking about terrorism, that has been fragmented now. Okay, anyway, that is not the topic right now. India's previous voting pattern, we have discussed this. So let's see. India now emphasizes the primacy of the concern about international terrorism while maintaining support for two-state solution for Palestinians. So this is the balanced approach I was talking about. We are saying that we are against international terrorism, so we are against Hamas. Okay, because they have given this terrorist activity on October 7th. And then two-state solution for Palestinian, we are saying that we are still in the support of this particular thing. The article also suggests three dimensions of India's diplomatic task, what India has to achieve or what India has to do in the future. Strengthen outreach to the Arab world to explain India's commitment to Palestinian statehood. So since because of this particular abstaining from voting or this change in the stance, there might be a confusion, there might be some kind of, you can say, lack of trust. Okay, so now what you have to do is you have to build that trust again. You have to talk to them that, and you have to tell your reasons and reassure that we are committed to the Palestinian statehood. Okay, press Israel to respect the laws of war. Okay, when we are talking about the civilian casualties in Gaza Strip, India can press Israel to respect the laws of war. Okay, and then the third task in front of India is provide humanitarian assistance to Gaza, which we are already doing. Okay, so that is about this particular article. With this, we will be ending this session of today's. We have discussed all the important articles, or you can say from a weekend and as of today. So we'll wrap up the session. Have a good day. Thank you.